Hello there guys, what is going on? SonOfChelsea back here again for a different type of video. I felt now the January transfer window is open, it'd be interesting to take a look at the month ahead and how in my opinion Chelsea should approach this window, who the Blues should buy and sell, and give you my rundown of the window. If Roman, Frank or Marina gave me a call and told me it was my responsibility, what would I do? And what I would do is re-sign free agent Diego Costa and be done with it. Bye everyone. Okay, I guess you want a little bit more than that. And in all seriousness and my personal disappointment, Diego will not be making his long-awaited return to SW6. But seriously, could you imagine? So really for me, this window is all about squad management. After the most extravagant of all windows last summer, any fan expecting anything remotely similar is going to be very disappointed. January is always a slow month, with few big deals and most clubs looking to loan out or sell unwanted players. Most incomings are usually done with the short term in mind for clubs in desperate need of something they failed to rectify in the summer. Luckily for once, that's not Chelsea. Really, after 200 million spent on improving goalkeeper, defence, midfield and attack, there isn't a need for major recruitment in the majority of areas. Yes, Lampard's team have struggled in recent weeks, but that feels more like players out of form, coaching mistakes and the team needing time to gel more than the squad lacking one glaring thing. The first priority for Marina should be shifting the deadwood, trimming the post-Christmas fat in this squad. There are quite clearly players in and around Cobham who don't have a long-term future at the club, especially with Lampard at the helm. So for the betterment of their careers and also for the help of the current first team squad, it's time to say goodbye. Quick disclaimer, now I know the business of transfers are quite complicated and involve many moving parts, including the buyer, the seller, the player and agents. And apart from the fact we need clubs to come in for unwanted players, we know Marina is the Iron Lady. She isn't going to allow players to walk out the door for cheap, which could make the window quite tricky. Let's get the obvious ones out of the way first. So firstly, bye Marcos Alonso, who hasn't featured in a squad since he threw a strop and went to watch Netflix on the team bus at West Brom after putting in one of the worst displays I've seen from a Chelsea player in some time. Apparently Atletico Madrid want him. We've done good business with them before. That works. Thanks for the great memories, Marcus, and your goals against Spurs, but your time is up. Next, another outcast for more mysterious reasons is Fikayo Tomori. Looked a big part of Lampard's plans at the start of 1920, but basically for over a year now he's remained a bit part player, getting further and further away from the first team. When there have been opportunities to play him in rotation, Lampard has chosen both Christensen and Rudiger over him. He desperately needs game time, like desperately right now, and apparently he was close to agreeing a loan to West Ham on deadline day back in October, so Chelsea must get that done if they still see a future for Tomori. I quite like Tomori and would like to see him return, so yeah, get him that loan. Also, I like the blend of assurance on the ball, recovery runs and physicality that could present Chelsea with what they hoped for in Andreas Christensen in the long term. Now, Antonio Rudiger was linked pretty heavily with a deadline day move away. That didn't happen and has surprisingly found his way back into minutes. He quite clearly is third choice and hasn't done a lot wrong whilst playing. With Tomori out, having four centre-backs in the squad is necessary, but if a good deal arises that's good for both parties, then Chelsea should look to get it done for reasons I'll explain later. The last two on my out list are pretty tricky and I think it's very unlikely either move on without having something major changing. Firstly, Kepa Arrizabalaga. Listen, he knows, I know, you know, his time at Chelsea is up. There is the small issue of paying 75 million for him and knowing you're guaranteed a loss, and also you've got the problem of who is going to take him. A loan maybe back to Spain with the club covering some of his wages is the only option at the moment, but a permanent fee could be below 20 million. But even the rare times he does play, it feels like his value depreciates. And then Jorginho, how things could have been different for the Regista. Despite some nice moments and passes, the Italian has never quite looked capable of being the long-term solution at DM. Now, I think Jorginho leaving is a bit of an outside shout, and unlike Kepa, Chelsea are not going to accept a very low fee for the Italian and will pretty rightly expect there will be clubs who would value his services, especially back in Italy. And despite fan frustration, it appears Lampard still values him as a rotational player with seniority within his squad. A bit like Rudiger, if Jorginho was to leave, it could open the door for a new signing. And apart from that, Baba Rahman and Danny Drinkwater are both looking for loan moves away, though with no no football between them for the first team, you're hoping a club is desperate enough at the moment to take them on loan. In terms of buying players this month, I wouldn't spend any money on the first team as it currently is without major players going out. I think in terms of the amount we spent last summer, but also looking at January signings in general, not many January signings for Chelsea have worked. Most are quick fixes that don't quite fit the club. Think Gonzalo Higuain, Juan Cuadrado, Mohamed Salah, Ricardo Quaresma and Yuri Yaricic, if you remember him. Apart from exceptions like Nemanja Matic in 2014 and Olivier Giroud in 2018, Jan signings more often than not struggle to make the desired impact, and blowing too much money may impact the bigger business in the following summer. Now, talking about potential targets, let's start with the obvious one here, which is Declan Rice. Rice has been continually linked with the Blues since the summer, and this transfer feels like a matter of when and not if, but given the Hammers' reported valuation of 80 million and the fact they have a chance at a top 10 finish, it is very unlikely a deal can be struck this month. Yes, once again, Lampard's midfield balance issue has reared its ugly head after 4 defeats in 6, but with the chance to maybe move Mount a little bit deeper or utilise Billy Gilmour a bit more, I'd prefer to go down that route. Now, David Alaba is another target that could be an option in defence if Rudiger and Tomori leave, but with his extortionate wages and crave for first team football, it looks likely that Liverpool or Real Madrid will grab his signature this month. Personally, for me, this situation comes down to good coaching and utilising the amazing squad we have to the best of their abilities. Chelsea should stick to the good instincts they had last year during the January window and not rush into anything unless a first choice target becomes available. So there you have it. That's how I would do the January transfer window for Chelsea if I was in charge. Now, I pass it over to you guys in the comments. Do you agree? Do you disagree? How would you do the window for Chelsea? Let me know in the comments below. But thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you did enjoy it, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Follow me on Twitter at SonOfChelsea. Have a great day, and as ever, I'll see you again.